Hey, hello, Life Community Church. Thank you for watching this video. Happy Wednesday and also happy April Fool's Day. Don't be a fool. Follow the rule of social distancing. I'm Pastor Mike and I approve this message. So anyway, I wanted to give you a short devotion today because today is Wednesday and obviously we're not able to meet for our typical Wednesday night service. So this is going to be a short devotional, but it's an important devotional because it's on a topic that's receiving a lot of interest right now. And if you would, I'd like to encourage you to turn to Romans chapter 13, and we're going to cover verses 1 and 2 today. Romans chapter 13 is right after the book of Acts. If you turn to chapter 13, we're going to look at verses 1 and 2. Obviously, Romans, it's a big book. It's big in size. It's big in theological density. There's a lot to cover in the book of Romans. So I just want to focus on these two verses here today because these are two verses that are relevant to what's going on in our culture right now. And so I'll explain why after we read this together. So verse 1 of Romans chapter 13 says this. Says, "Let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves." So we'll stop right there. Now, I realize that since the government ordered churches around the country to suspend gatherings of more than 50 people, many Christians have been skeptical. Maybe you are one of those people who've been skeptical. And listen, I am completely okay. I believe it's completely okay to be skeptical with government. I'm skeptical of a lot of things with our government. But notice the Apostle Paul is telling Romans to be subject. He doesn't say obey without question. He says be subject. And one of the things I witnessed around the country from some congregations is the absolute unwillingness to even consider following social distancing practices to stop the spread of this COVID-19. Already we've seen a few pastors arrested because their big congregations continue to meet, and rather than be creative and try to find ways around the order, even these pastors have been just completely insubordinate. And I also see a lot of believers who are joyful and gloating about how faithful these leaders are. And I want you to be careful with that, because some of these people are even comparing these pastors to Daniel and his companions, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who defied authority because they would have sinned otherwise. But here's the question, okay? The question is really this. Is our government forcing us to sin by practicing social distancing? We know we're to be subject. We know government's been instituted by God. And listen, if the government is asking us to sin, we should obviously reject that outright. But consider this. I want you to consider this for a moment. In ancient Israel, there were times when people were quarantined by the authorities, aka God's word. And such a time was if a person was suffering from a skin disease known as leprosy. They literally had to practice social distancing and quarantine themselves. And so when we see our government asking us to stay at home, and if we see that the evidence of this threat is real, and we know people who died from this virus, then it stands to reason that we should obey the authorities. By the way, did you know that there was a stay-at-home order that happened, but before that happened in Washington, in Mount Vernon, there was a church choir who had a practice, and 50 people showed up to that practice on, I believe it was March 10th. And no one came in feeling sick, but listen, fast forward 3 weeks, and 45 of the 60 people that came to that practice now have coronavirus, and 2 of those people have died. 3 of them are in the hospital right now. They tried to be careful. They had a greeter stand at the door. They didn't hug each other. They didn't kiss each other. But the virus spread like wildfire. So listen, I want you guys to take this thing seriously and stay at home as much as possible. Be a good witness for Jesus to our community. Now, lastly, it's with great sadness that I inform you, in case you had not heard, that Darlene Spencer, who was diagnosed with COVID-19, has passed away from complications of the virus. She was a tireless worker in our association, a real beacon of hope, and she's going to really be missed. And I just want you guys to keep Pastor Jeff and their entire family in prayer. I thank you guys so much for watching. Listen, let me know if there's anything that I can do for you. My number is 219-477-7173. I hope you've appreciated this video. I'll probably do one of these at least a week in addition to our Sunday morning service. And so God bless you guys. Stay safe out there.